Hi, this is the Daily Spin brought to you by InlineSkates.net. My name is Steve, and I've got Steve Cherrier here from Rollerblade. And Steve, I wanted to ask you about tips for the first-time skater. So, the person's thinking about buying a pair of skates, or they just bought their very first skates, and they're not really sure where should they start, what should they do to learn, any tips to staying safe, etc. So let's kind of start with, where's a good place to start skating?
But first thing I say is somewhere away from any traffic or congestion, and somewhere that's very flat.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. and we recommend that people, when they first put their skates on, that they even walk around in the grass on them to get used to being on the skates and the height and
You could even put them on at home and on their carpet.
You could
not try to roll, but just get comfortable with how they feel.
Just to get the feel of walking around with them, yes.
I always like to recommend school parking lots after hours because they're usually empty and relatively safe, no traffic, stuff like that.
Exactly.
And what about like bike paths and stuff like that? Do you recommend those for the first time someone goes out skating?
Well, not the very first time. I think what you'd mentioned is going somewhere contained, like a parking lot like that, where there's some grass they can walk in, and somewhere they can start to get the feel of moving around, learning to turn the skates, and also learning to stop, which is very, very important. So.
I always tell people making the skates go is usually pretty easy. Making them stop takes a little more practice, and to try to avoid hills, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely don't want to do hills before you learn how to stop. So how do you begin to learn how to use the brake for inline skating?
Well, using the brake, and there's some fairly good instruction out there that's available, but using the brake, you want to keep your weight forward, and you're going to be moving your right foot forward, putting your right leg out, and the brake will make contact with the ground. And it's not exactly a natural movement, but people, I would say, practicing in the grass and then practice it slowly in the parking lot, you start to get some technique down, and you really want to master that before you go out to a bike trail, where you possibly interact with other people, someone going by on a bike or something like that. You want to feel confident before you step out there.
Now, other than using the brake, are there any other ways you can slow down or stop it?
Well, there's a number of ways to stop, but as a new skater, we highly recommend the brake. If you're a better skater, you can learn to T-stop, etc. And there's some more advanced stuff.
That's where you turn one of the skates and put it behind.
Basically, it's dragging a skate on the wheels that a lot of more advanced skaters do. But you don't want to really get into that until you have some other skating fundamentals down.
So, for first-time skaters, besides a pair of skates, anything else you recommend that they have?
Well, obviously, they should be wearing a helmet first and foremost, and then wrist guards, knee pads, and elbow pads. Gear is very, very important. And you're going to want to learn to maneuver, to turn, and to avoid obstacles too. So that when you get out on a big bike path, things are going to come along, and you want to be able to deal with that.
I always feel strongly that pads are not just for safety; they build confidence. You're not afraid to try things, go a little faster, make a little sharper turn when you're wearing your pads.
Absolutely.
Anything else? Is it okay to skate in the rain or skate on the dirt or anything like that?
Yeah, skates don't respond that well to wet pavement, so you're going to stay out of puddles and all that. It's bad for, it can be very slick, and it's also bad for your bearings.
You get that scum in the puddles, and that could make you fall.
Yeah, and the wheels slip on wet pavement, so not to skate. And watch out for debris, etc. too, a bunch of rocks or sand or something like that. You're going to watch for that.
I think that's good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This has been the Daily Spin, brought to you by InlineSkates.net.